Hello there, everyone. My name is Teresa McCloy, and you're listening to the Real Life Process Podcast. So excited to be with you here today. We are both on YouTube. I was going to say live on YouTube. We're really not live. We record the episode and upload it as our audio episode comes out. But we are both on our YouTube channel at the Real Life Process. And we are also here on your favorite podcast player. Each and every week, we want you to listen in as we share tips and stories and practical action steps that will help lead you to live a life from rest and not from rush, and truly do what matters. We love sharing ideas about our signature content. We call it the Real Life Process. It has 4 different components that will help you thrive in both your life and your work. That content really is set up like a framework and helps you develop a unique modern day rule of life through self-discovery, who do you want to be, 90-day action projects, time management, and also spiritual practices. Together, we discover how to craft a life that is full of extraordinary moments. So whether you're listening in to grow that life and discover those extraordinary moments, or whether you're listening in to grow your business, because we also help coaches and I cannot talk today, coaches and consultants grow their business. Either way, we're just glad that you're listening in here at the Real Life Process Podcast. For the past several weeks, probably 6 or 8 weeks here on the podcast, we have been talking through all of those components of the process. So if you want to go back and walk through all of the components, we have those there for you. We've recorded those even in anticipation of the book that's coming out this fall, Do What Matters, Live from Rest, Not Rush, using the Real Life Process. So we did the pre-work, we did all of the components, we talked about the spiritual practices behind the process. But today we are going to be diving into some brand new content. And well, I should say maybe not brand new content, but we're going to be doing a solo episode that really is not about the components of the process. We're going to talk about setting up your Monday morning. What does it look like to say, Happy Monday? I was thinking about this morning, actually, as this is a Monday evening that I'm recording this on, and I was thinking to myself, why do I feel so good about coming in to Mondays? What is so different than sometimes I hear other people say about their Monday mornings? I really love Mondays. To me, they're like a very fresh start each and every week. I also love the month of January for many of the same reasons. It's like a fresh start to me. Now, I will say I didn't always used to love Mondays because sometimes I would come into Mondays dragging. And it was one of the reasons that I really worked on creating a modern day rule of life, creating these components that we now call the Real Life Process, is because in my old behaviors, I really did kind of come to Monday thinking, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for the week to begin. I'm not prepared. I don't have the right mindset. I'm not ready to dive in. So what I want to talk about today is kind of the 5 things that I do to get ready for Monday. And this may sound silly to you or crazy, but Monday for me actually starts on Sunday. It actually starts with how I set up coming into Monday. And in the 4th component of the Real Life Process, we talk about the 3 R's, rest, renew, and review. We've got some episodes. We just did one recently on that 4th component. So you can go back and listen to that if you'd like to know more. But I want to pull out that one piece of review and dive into that a little bit more, because this is why Mondays are different for me, is because of the Sunday night review. Now, there's nothing magical about Sunday. To me, you could do this on a Friday evening at the end of the workday. You could do it on a Saturday morning. We have some people that divide this up a little bit, but there's something for me on Sunday evening that I really anticipate and look forward to Monday and being able to say happy Monday on Monday morning. And here's how I do that. Here's the 5 things that I do. Now, first of all, I've switched my life and my rule of life to say that Saturdays for me are a day of renewal. Now that means there's nothing on my calendar. Sundays for me are a day of rest. I might enjoy time with other people. I might enjoy family time, all of those things, but it actually is a day of rest for me. So as that day of rest has happened, now I'm ready. My mind is ready, my body is ready, and I'm ready to come back into what I call the work week. So first thing I do, and these are very practical steps, is I like to confirm all the appointments that I have. Now, I may have gotten an email from that person. I may have seen that they scheduled as a reminder. As I work with a coach, I still have several one-to-one clients that I work with. And I also have our certified facilitators that I'm meeting and coaching on a regular basis. So I want to confirm those appointments. Many times that's a quick email to say, hey, I have us down for this time, and I'll put that in the subject line and just confirming that still works for you. Now, I don't do that with every single appointment that I have, but for many of them, I do because it just helps me to know that appointment is confirmed unless an emergency happens. We're still on the books and we're good to go. And I know where those set appointments are. It's just my way of doing things. That might not work for everyone, but I love the comfort in that. Then what I do is I look at my calendar for margin. Where are the white spaces that are still there, 1 to 2 hour blocks that I can grab and that I can put in a 60 or a 90-minute block of time where I can work on a project? So as you know, in component number 2 here at the process, we take those projects out of the areas that matter to us and we say, how do I want to move forward in this area of my life in the next 90 days? We don't do all the areas, but in 2 to 3 areas of our life, how do we want to move forward? I'll grab that margin of time and I'll place it in there. Now, some of those, I have a couple of those preset in my calendar, but if I know that I have the maximum number of appointments that I want for that week, then I'm grabbing those times for project blocks and ways that I can take forward action and action steps around the things that matter to me in this set of time, this 90 days. Sometimes I will grab that time and put it in as a present block. This is time that I want to be present to myself. There's all kinds of things that I might do there, but sometimes I'll just say, I need this as downtime. But I'll grab it and I go ahead and block it out. For one thing, I use a calendar appointment for people to schedule into my calendar. And if I block that out, then I've pre-decided that nobody's going to grab that time. Nobody's going to take that time from me. So another thing that I do, that's the first 2 things, is I like to confirm my appointments, as many of them as I can. I look for that margin so I can block in project blocks and present blocks. And then the third thing is I want to think about my evening time. What evening might work for me that I might want to go out to dinner with a friend? What evening might work for me that I want my husband to come over and meet me at my co-working space, or that I want to be purposeful to fix dinner at home that night? That's something that matters to my husband and matters to me. So I start to look at my evenings. Do I have evenings that are already busy and that I know I want to make sure that I have a few evenings at home to relax and work in my garden or be in my hot tub or just sit out on my porch here in the summertime? So I think about my evenings. And the reason that I do that is I really want to be purposeful about the transition from my workday to my evening time. That used to be something really difficult for me in bringing my work home with me. And so when I pre-think about that on Sunday evening and how that's going to look for the next 4 or 5 days, gives me plenty of heads up of where might be an evening that I might want to quit early in the afternoon and come back and do a couple more hours of work into the evening if that works in my husband's schedule. Or as you're planning around your children's schedules, what does it look like to make that transition into the home space, into out of work mode and into personal time or present mode in that way? So that's another thing that I think about on Sunday evenings. And then the next thing that I go to is, what does my team need? What does my team need? How do they need me to show up that week? Now, I have 3 or 4 contractors that work for me. Actually, we have 4 people total on our team that are working a limited number of hours each week. And so I want to check in with them. First thing Monday morning, I want to know what they need from me. Is there anything in the week that I need to commit to them? We love some task management software called Noseby. It's an older software platform that we've used for a long time. I'll put that in the show notes. I've referenced it many of time here on the podcast, and we just love its simple, straightforward approach to task management and how our team can all talk together. So I'm checking out in there what they might need from me. I'm anticipating what are the projects that our team is working on, and is there any part in that they would be waiting for me to do something. Along with that is checking in with your family. If you have a spouse or you have children or you have extended family that you want to know and check in with, just run it through your mind. Is there anything I need to be present to this week? Is there anyone that has a doctor's appointment that I want to follow up with and check on? Is there anybody that has a special event going on that I want to be present for? So not just maybe your team, but also in your personal life too. What do you want to be present to people? It goes into that people block category. And then for me, as a person of faith, I want to pray over my week. I just want to take some time to look at my calendar. This is the 5th thing that I do. I just want to take some time to look over my calendar and say, what are the relationships I'm going to have this week? What are the conversations that matter? What are some big decisions that either I'm helping guide someone with or I'm needing to make myself? How are those going to affect me emotionally and physically? So I just want to pray for the week. I just want to dive into those spiritual practices that we put behind the process and say, where do I want to show up in a spiritual way this week? How do I want to pray over that? The other piece that I have in this, and so those are the 5 things that I do. Confirm appointments, look through appointments, just make sure those are solid. Look for that margin to block out time for project blocks and present blocks. Think about my evening time, how those transitions are going to happen. What does my team need or my family need? And then praying over the week. And then one of the other things that I'm really trying to lean into just in the past 3 or 4 months, actually, as I have found that my calendar had become really busier than I wanted it to be, fuller. It wasn't that it was over busy, it was just full. So I've kind of made a scheduling rule that I really do not want any appointments on my calendar until at least 9 a.m. on Monday. That gives me another buffer and margin to either stay home or come into the co-working space and have an hour or so just to sit, go back through my calendar, make sure all my ducks are in a row, and that the calendar is pre-decided, that my week is flowing how I want it to. My everyday, ordinary life, that I'm in control of my calendar and my time, and it's connected to my real self and the things that matter to me. That's how I can come into Mondays excited and happy and looking at all of those different pieces and connections. So I think this helps to set me up for success in my week and my ability to manage those things and be purposeful in those things. So I hope that there's something great that you can take away from how do you want to approach Mondays? How do you want to lean into Monday in the best way that you possibly can? What would that look like for you to set up your Mondays for success? And that success actually starts on Sunday evening with 20 or 30 minutes that you're just leaning into all those things and doing a lot of pre-deciding, one of our favorite words here at the Real Life Process. So I hope in this episode that you'll be able to take something away that you can put right into action and take action on. And I hope that it will help you make a bigger impact in your weeks ahead. If you would like to connect with us more, you can do that in several different ways. One of them is coming into our website and just checking out our website. You can find out more there about connecting with some free downloads that we have, connecting with our coaches and facilitators here at the Real Life Process, and also finding out more about if you would like to facilitate this content in the work that you're doing and be certified in that. You can also join our Facebook group at the Real Life Process community. We're beginning to build our Facebook group into the launch team that will actually be a part of helping us launch out the book this fall. And if you've been a faithful listener, or if you're a brand new listener here to the podcast, we would love for you to hop into the Facebook group and find out how we're going to build out that launch team and how you can be a part of that. And then our last and newest piece of content is following us on our YouTube channel. Even if you're not one who watches YouTube often, we would love for you to go out and subscribe to the channel just to help us build up that platform. As someone who is connected here at the Real Life Process and part of our community, we would just love if you would support us in that way. We love to hear from you. If you want to hop on over to your favorite podcast player and leave a review for us, we love those. We read each and every one of them. And we thank you so much for being a listener. We want to help you have happy and successful Mondays from the content that we shared this week on the podcast. So make sure you come back, visit us again next week. We'll be back with more from the Real Life Process podcast. Remember that every ordinary day has an extraordinary moment. You just have to look for them. We'll see you next week, everyone.